Today on Heavy Metal Frequency, I'm reviewing Devin Townsend's Powernerd Ultimate Edition. Unbox the case, well, book in this case. 2 discs, a DVD, and an actual book with, it's like a coffee table book pretty much with, these are really, really cool. And so this is a continuation of stuff like Empath and Lightwork. And this is more of a metal album than Lightwork. I wouldn't necessarily say this is more of a metal album than Empath, but this is in the same vein. It's progressive metal as well. This is a little harder. I kind of look at this like, this album is what happens when you take Empath and you take the Walteri-esque Yeah Yeah Die Die era Walteri-esque symphonic death metal song Hear Me. Devin Townsend's Hear Me reminds me of Waltari. And so it's what happens when you take that and you divide the symphonic death metal elements among various other tracks. So this is somewhat harder than Empath, and it's still a progressive metal. It's like a progressive metal new age album, but a little bit harder. There's some other touches on here. Powernerd is an excellent opener. It has a really catchy wah heavy guitar riff, and you can look up the definition of what a Powernerd is and stuff. It's a badass in you and all kind of paraphrasing. And so, and petting a cat is involved. And so, it's a really excellent opener. It gets you really into the album. It's like newer Devin Townsend, but a little bit more straightforward, and it has a little bit of a punk edge to it. So it might be a little bit of a callback to like early punk-ish, like punky Brewster's Cooked on Phonics era Devin Townsend. Really, really early Devin was a little more punk. And so Falling Apart goes into a one of my favorite songs on here. It's like a progressive metal song, and it reminds me of Tesseract, and I thought that certain things on here reminded me of Tesseract. Also, the album he did with that Chinese band, Oh, and he's touring with Tesseract soon. You should look that up. Go see him. Go support Devin. But it's just a really trippy thing. And so Falling Apart's like this power ballad that's really cool. Knuckle Dragger is... I thought it was an anti-alcohol song. Now, if there's more to it than that, you can look up Devin's podcast about him talking about all these tracks and everything. And it's a very interesting song that has a lot of different elements on it that's really, really cool. It has some bongos and some video game music. It's a really neat song. Gratitude is kind of like it's like an Empath-esque Devin song. It reminds me of like a sequel to The Spirit Carries On. Dreams of Light is a interlude. It's only a couple seconds long. Eubelia is really, really cool. It's this really cool, like, I'm trying to think of how to put it. It's a really neat Dreams of Light-esque progressive metal song. It's another progressive new age song. It's another Empath-esque song. Jainism is really neat. It's another single on here. Powernerd and Jainism were singles. Young Lover is another really good song on here. Glacier is one of my favorites. I really like everything on here, so some of my favorites would include Powernerd, Falling Apart, Knuckle Dragger, Gratitude, Dreams of Light, Eubelia, Jainism, Younger Lover, Glacier, Goodbye, Ruby Quaker. Yeah, I like everything on here. Get over it. Glacier is another really, really cool one. Cool, Glacier. Why do I think this? Listen to it and find out. I'm about to run out of time. Goodbye is interesting because it's not the last track on the album. It's the second to last track, and that's kind of strange. And it's really catchy. It has kind of like a Christmas Trans-Siberian Orchestra-esque feel to it, which is really neat. And he does that with some of his prog metal stuff like Empath and stuff. It has like a Christmas feel to it. And Ruby Quaker is hilarious, and it gets stuck in my head at work. It's funny. It's like a ragtime jazz folk-esque song that goes into some metal and has some harder death metal-y elements. And it's about his love of coffee. And I know I've skirted over some stuff, but I'm about to run out of time, and you should really look it up and really get into this. And I would highly suggest the Super Mega Ultra Shiny Happy the Final Devin Townsend Coffee Table album books. They are amazing. I've given these as gifts. I have one myself now. Yay. And so next I'm not going to do the Blu-ray disc, but I am going to do the bonus content next, which is the second CD, which is the other songs that follow, which are very interesting. I've never really heard songs like ever that sound like this. So that's up next. So thank you and have a good night.